This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Carson City. Today we are joined by Marsha Berkbigler. She is a commissioner in Washoe County. She is now the vice chair of that commission. Washoe County, of course, Reno and surrounding areas. You service just beautiful territory.
It's gorgeous. It's really probably one of the prettiest places in the state.
I want to talk about an issue that's causing some nervousness, and that is healthcare.
Right.
We know that there's been a lot of agitation about Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, but even some Republicans, including Governor Sandoval, is nervous about a just blanket repeal of the Affordable Care Act, given Nevada's taken the expansion of Medicaid, and many Nevadans have taken the healthcare exchange, the Silver State Healthcare Exchange. So talk to us about it as a commissioner.
Well, from the Commission's perspective, we are concerned about just a blanket across the board repeal of it because the Medicaid, we're responsible for all of the social services and human services in Washoe County. So we're the regional government for the county. So whether you live in the cities or not doesn't really matter. We have to take responsibility for all of the child protective services, all of those services, and a lot of those people use Medicaid, particularly the children.
And if we think about the expansion, which Nevada did accept.
It did.
As a result of the expansion, now over 630,000 Nevadans are on Medicaid, and I think it's about 200,000 are newly on as a result.
It's close to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very big number. And our friends in Washington, some just want the expansion gone. I mean, just gone.
Well, and it's a really big number if you're a local government.
Right.
And the reason it is because if the state doesn't have the money, then it puts that responsibility for taking care of those people down on the local government, particularly on the counties, because all the counties in the state of Nevada are the regional government that handles Medicare and Medicaid and all of those types of issues. So if there's no money at the state level, if it's repealed, then there's no money coming to the state. Then there's no money that the state can use.
Right.
What do we use to take care of it?
What I understand is that our friends in Washington are being contacted, including and specifically by Republicans and Republican governors. Oh, here we are in Nevada with a Republican governor who's saying to the Trump administration, whoa. You know, we understand, you know, we can say a lot of things about the Affordable Care Act. It needs fixing, whatever.
There's some things that truly need to be replaced.
But if we repeal it with no replacement, oh my. I mean, that could cause
very frightening
havoc.
Well, and I think another part of it that's really kind of important to us because we are a land-grant state. So
Which means, tell our viewers what that means.
Well, land-grant universities are universities that are granted a certain status by the federal government. So that's what a land-grant university is. And UNR, the University of Nevada, Reno, is the only land-grant university in the state. And so because of that, we have a lot of students who come in here who are on special types of monetary support. And a lot of those students are now being allowed to stay on their parents' health insurance.
Up to the age of 26.
Up to the age of 26.
Right.
And so if we do away with that aspect of Obamacare, that could really cause havoc at our university level. And then again at the county level, because somebody's going to have to take care of the health care of those students.
And what's also interesting is a report has come out which indicates that if the Affordable Care Act were eliminated without some type of replacement, 22,000 Nevadans would lose their jobs because of this decreased economic activity surrounding folks accessing health care.
I don't know that is as big a concern to us in northern Nevada as it is in southern Nevada.
I understand.
Largely because in northern Nevada, we are really growing quickly.
Amen.
And we're growing non-gaming, non-tourism businesses. So essentially what we've said to the world is we've hung out our We're Open for Business sign, and we're saying, come in and bring your business into northern Nevada. So we've got Tesla, we've got Switch, we've got Panasonic, we've got all of these huge international companies that are hiring people. So I just came from an economic development meeting this morning in northern Nevada, and that is one of our major concerns, is that we don't have enough people. We need those people.
I want to ask you about those that are on the exchange, about 90,000. No doubt the federal government subsidizes many of those folks, but presumably to a less level, because they wouldn't have been eligible for the expansion. So let's presume Obamacare vanishes. Does the state have the wherewithal to fill the gap?
No.
No. No, it's just undeniable.
In fact, the governor's proposed budget, I believe, exceeds the amount of income by something like 10 or 11%.
Yeah.
So, there's clearly no funds there to take it over. But one of the problems we're experiencing here in Nevada is that insurance companies are, in fact, leaving Nevada. And so when that happens, that becomes a single-payer system, and that's very bad.
It's the death spiral that we hear about.
Yes.
And in a lot of ways, I mean, can you blame the insurance companies? There's so much uncertainty surrounding
exactly right.
The Affordable Care Act. We know that within the first week of the Trump administration, he signed an executive order which said, federal government, you don't need to enforce provisions, which would be the individual mandate. And that means the pool becomes diluted, and it's mostly sick people. I mean,
that's the way it works.
Yeah.
But it's mostly sick people anyway.
Right.
I mean, generally speaking, the millennials, the younger generation, are people who they don't really care whether they have the insurance or not.
The mandate required them to, which helped the insurance companies.
And many of them are paying the penalty rather than getting the insurance, because the insurance is too expensive, because too many companies are leaving the state.
Yeah.
And so that's become a bit of a dilemma, I think, for a lot of people.
You mentioned economic development. I want to speak with you about that. There are a lot of discussions in the legislature about the minimum wage.
Right.
What's interesting is today, Nevada mandates basically the federal minimum wage if you get health insurance. If not, you get a $1 bump.
Right.
But we have a Senate provision that's looking to increase the minimum wage tiered, basically $11 to $12 an hour. Then we have an assembly provision that would bring it up to $14 to $15 an hour.
That's correct. And there was a big hearing on that yesterday.
Right.
The chambers of commerce from both ends of the state, as well as out in rural Nevada, were here. That is an issue that's really interesting, because what's happening to northern Nevada specifically. And again, what we're looking at in northern Nevada, we're not looking for a company to come in who is a data supply company, for instance, and they just want people who are going to sit and answer phones. And we're not looking for those type of people. They pay, those type of companies, they pay a $10 wage.
Right.
We're looking for companies that are coming in,
Tesla.
at $10 an hour.
Yeah.
We're looking for people who are coming in who are going to be paying $75,000 to $80,000 a year.
But
so
let me-
it is an issue that is getting some attention, shall you say, from northern Nevada.
What's spooking some folks is that $14 an hour in Vegas is not $14 an hour in a rural county in Nevada.
And that is a problem.
And so I know our friends in Oregon, for example, when they passed their minimum wage increase, they had, I think it's 3 tiers. So for kind of rural areas, semi-suburban areas, and urban areas.
And that wouldn't surprise me that ultimately happened in Nevada, because that's actually something we do quite a lot in Nevada.
Right.
We say if you're in a county over 700,000, then it only applies to Clark County.
Right.
If you're in a county between 100,000 and 500,000, then it only applies to
Right,
Washoe
we know what
County.
that means.
And everything else then is handled differently. So ultimately, I mean, we're very early stage on
course,
this issue.
yes, it's early.
Ultimately, I would not be the least bit surprised to see something pass. I don't think.
But would the governor be on board?
I don't think the governor. I think he might veto something at $15.
Right.
But I don't think he would veto something that was tiered at a lower level that didn't so negatively impact rural Nevada. So one of the things that's happening is you're seeing, of course, Vegas is huge. It's big growth, 2 million people down there. But now that northern Nevada has started to really grow in different types of businesses, you're seeing Washoe County, Story County, Carson City, Lyon County, all of this kind of regional area, where in Las Vegas, that's all in one county.
And we'd love to have you back and talk more about this, okay?
Okay.
She is Marsha Berkbigler. She is a Washoe County Commissioner on Brad Pomerance Local Edition.